Some people might not even dream of spending a week in a village in rural Africa, and that's why most abandoned people spend years before paying their grandparents a visit. What they don't know is that you have a lot to gain in that 1 week than you might realize. While city and town living certainly have plenty of their own benefits, there's something about rural life that just does the body good. There's a lot of room to spread out for those who appreciate the quiet, privacy, and the open sky of the countryside. In this video, we will explore the positive side of living in a rural African village. I am sure most of you will relate. And if you have never spent time at your grandparents' place in the village, watch till the end to get 15 of the biggest benefits inherent to rural living. I've got a bonus for those who will stick with me to the end that will make you want to pack right away and bid the city goodbye for several weeks, if not months. Number 1. In-season fresh and farm products. Every homestead in rural Africa has a piece of land where they plant their food crops, the ones that are consumed by the family, all within a walking distance, where one can get fresh fruits and veggies right from the source. The type of food that our bodies really need is in abundance out in the countryside. This means even those with less to spend can easily purchase high-quality foods for cleaner and very nutritious homemade, balanced diets. There are many pros to eating organic foods, chief among them less exposure to the harmful pesticides used to produce food on a mass level. In the countryside, even those with less to spend can easily purchase high-quality foods for cleaner diets. With this, you'll never be a statistic in cases of food poisoning and cancerous disorders. Number 2. Belonging to a tight-knit community. The sheer size of cities makes it difficult to feel like a real part of the community. Anyone who's lived in the city knows that it can take a long time to make new friends. In a rural setting, neighbors need to be able to rely on one another. Even those who prefer to keep to themselves and maintain a comfortable distance know they can turn to their neighbor should the need arise. Church, town square, and gathering at the local shopping center make it easier to form strong social bonds bound by love and not necessarily by blood. You get to smile in the face of the adversity, for this community is always there for you. You never get through anything on your own. The same community will rebuke you if you go out of your way and do something that might bring harm to you or the community. Number 3. Exposure to nature. Spending more time in nature is a great way to improve your health. When you are living in rural Africa, you don't have to go very far to reap the benefits. Natural paradise can be found right outside of your door. You get to enjoy for free what nature has to offer in your backyard. If that is not enough and decide to break the monotony, just follow that beaten path that leads away from the village center. And before you realize it, you are at Mother Nature's bosom. Every morning you wake up to natural alarms, incessant sounds of nature's children, crickets, birds chirping, and after listening to them for decades, you can never get enough of it. You wake up and watch the stars smiling back at you as you brush your teeth, and the birds cheer you up during your morning run. And about that time, a huge ball of smoldering red sneaks out over the peak of the mountain in the horizon, spraying the whole countryside with golden rays. When you start your day with such a positive vibe, you'll be smiling all day long. Immersing yourself in a natural environment is good for everything, improving your short-term memory. It might even make you more creative. Number 4. Low cost of living. As I pointed out earlier, most of your food is grown in your backyard. If your food crops aren't ready, you can always get fresh ones from your friends and neighbors for free, or almost free. That means you get to save on your grocery budget. It's already well established that living in the countryside is way cheaper than any urban setting. In the country, you pay less for everything from groceries to healthcare to transportation, with the greatest price differentiation having to do with housing costs. You probably are on your father's or grandparents' land and you don't pay any rent. If not, the rent is usually that cheap here. When it comes to fashionable products, being a rural dweller, you don't have to buy expensive in-fashion clothes and footwear. Instead, you buy quality durable products that will last for years. Out here, people don't dress to impress. If you are looking for somewhere to spend less and get more, the first place you should start your search is in the countryside. Peace and quiet. Urban dwellers know the sound and light of the city never stop. In the countryside, apart from the sounds of nature, the only artificial sounds you hear are planes passing over the clouds or someone working with a power saw far in the jungle, mostly because your home isn't right next door to your neighbor or near the main road. The quietness of rural Africa and brilliance of the starlit sky offers a deeper satisfaction thanks to nature. When it comes to light pollution, in the countryside, it's usually pitch dark during the night, and if you enjoy meditating, wait until you do it out here in the countryside. Rural Africa is an oasis of serenity amidst the bustling world, and especially for the outdoorsman, there's no better way to experience serenity than in the African countryside. Cleaner air. The few people who has air purifiers in rural areas, if any, has them, not because they need them, but because they can afford them. Rural Africa is characterized by cool, clean, and fresh air, and those who frequent these places can attest to this. The further out in the country you get, the more your air quality improves. Researchers have a few ideas for why this might be, including less pollution from vehicles, factories, and other mainstays of urban environments, greater abundance of trees and grass, and perhaps even exposure to cell-improving phytochemicals that get released from plants, fungi, and microbes. Every time you take a deep breath, you feel energized and fresh. Problems related to air pollution are non-existent here, and you have increased protection against chronic conditions like asthma and heart diseases. Better psychological health. It's been reported that stress is among the 3 major killers of our time. There are generally higher rates of mental health problems in cities than rural areas. This is because urban environments overstimulates 2 regions of the brain that regulates emotion and anxiety. Rural life can offer a less stressful life because the countryside is known to move at a slower pace, presenting a lower risk of anxiety disorders and mood disorders. This obviously doesn't mean rural dwellers have a guarantee of having less stress in their life simply because they are in the countryside, but they are sure to avoid some of the increased factors for these psychological ailments that are hugely connected with city life. Space. You can now own pets that you've always wanted to own but couldn't in the city or town. Space is at a premium in urban areas, and this is definitely not the case in rural Africa. You always have more room if you want to expand your home, or maybe expand your poultry farming business. You have the space to build more chicken coops. If your kitchen garden needs some expansion, you have the space to grow more food, or even clear out some more space to be the kids' playground. This means you can even have more kids than you would have had would you have stayed in your tiny city dwelling. If you happen to hold a party at your place in the countryside, your guest list can only be limited by your budget and not by space for them to fit in. Ready access with no traffic jams. Outdoor enthusiasts may prefer living in rural Africa because they have ready access to hiking, climbing, bike riding, fishing, hunting, and numerous places where you can do just about anything that you want without traveling somewhere else to do it. Step out your back door and you can be in or near a nature trail, a beaten path with undergrowth wet with dew brushing your side. You can get anywhere fast since you know all shortcuts to your destination. Also, you can estimate how long it will take you to get somewhere. Unlike in urban areas where a 10-minute drive could turn into a 3-hour drive, being caught up in traffic and this quality time could instead be put to better use. In rural Africa, there is no gridlock, poisonous fumes, blasting horns, or road rage. Instead, picture beautiful country roads characterized by scenic beauty, widen up beautiful hills and river crossings. Better place to raise children. Both rural and urban environments has their benefits when it comes to raising children. But if you want peace of mind as your kids roam away from their homes freely and safely, the countryside is always an obvious choice. Most of African elderly are in the rural areas. Spending time with these souls that has seen many harvests means that most of what they say to you is characterized by wise words and life lessons, the kind you would never learn in school. From a very tender age, a kid in rural Africa is taught good values through moral short stories. They are taught communal values, sex knowledge, and other responsibilities. Equipped this way, moral decadence can never be part of them, and discipline becomes their portion. With time, listening and paying heed to these pieces of advice and implementing what they are taught, they become wise, respectable, and responsible individuals, meaning you'll also get less annoyed with them and you'll never be lacking in joy and happiness. Privacy. If you like privacy, the rural life works well for you, particularly if you don't have neighbors for a mile or so. This also provides solitude. If you are always conscious about what others think about your actions, or you are shy and conservative, or you just value privacy, the countryside is your perfect escape. You have the freedom of doing what you want to do without the prying eyes of neighbors and passers-by. I am sure introverts have at one point or another fantasized about this, a great escape from the hustle and bustle of city living, and go off-grid to a log cabin in the middle of nowhere. If you can relate to this, comment "I can relate" in the comment section below. Let's see how many value personal space and privacy. Great place to retire. Retiring is even more fun as a rural dweller because you have a lot of skills to tackle problems that you would have otherwise summoned an expert for as an urban dweller. You can fix your fence or a leaking tap, plant your own food, keep some livestock, make your own furniture, and so much more, since you have so much in your skill set repository. This would actually be fun since you do everything to your liking and you dictate how you spend your time. You could actually volunteer in communal work or offer to teach the youth about general life knowledge or some of your skills that you have accumulated over years. Generally, you can never run out of things to do, for when you are not feeding your chicken, you are pondering on how to deal with a wild boar or a porcupine that's been ruining your beautiful farm. Physical fitness for free. When we talk of physical fitness, you think of going to the gym in the evening or before work in the morning. In rural Africa, this is not the case. Every time you wake up, from making breakfast to making supper, you are flexing your muscles a lot and building your physique. For instance, when making breakfast, you don't have packed milk, so you'll have to milk your livestock or go get it where you usually do. You'll have to lift jerrycans of water, chop firewood with an axe. After that, pick a djembe and head to the shamba, or pick a panga and make sure your livestock is fed. You also have to make sure the trees in your compound don't have those extra branches. Your fence is fixed, your cash crops has been sprayed with pesticides, and the piece of land by the river has been cleared for cultivation. All these activities are on a daily basis, and most of you can relate, especially in the harvesting season. You become physically fit from the time you are a kid, and by the time you are old, heart failure, obesity, and other related disorders, you'll only come across them in the health magazines. Many natural recreational activities. Talking of what nature has to offer, kids in rural Africa start exploring it from when they are toddlers. From when you become conscious of your environment as a toddler, you start inventing ways of having fun, for playing in nature is a certain source of joy. By the time you are 7, you can climb a tree and dive into the water from up there for fun. And by 15, you'd have explored all the physical features in your area, swam in all the rivers, wrestled in the muddy water when it's raining, and this makes you learn from a tender age that happiness shouldn't be dependent on external factors. Most of these activities, the ones that are more mature, are usually carried forward till after you are married. Not mentioning the caving, hiking, and climbing that you do on the weekends with your buddies. You get to enjoy what tourists travel thousands of miles to experience. You enjoy it on a daily basis, and you don't have to produce a dime. If you have wondered why rural dwellers are so in love with the countryside, well, you have your answer now. Unaffected by lockdowns. Recently, during the corona period, most countries and states have led nationwide lockdowns. The whole world has been affected by these lockdowns, but the huge impact was on urban folks. The situation in African rural areas was not as dire. Apart from the traders and entrepreneurs who interacted frequently with the urban areas, to most rural folks, it was life as usual, hardly affected by the pandemic. They have all they need with them. In the granaries, they have food, enough to last them for months, and a pending harvest. Water is in plenty. Other products like sugar, salt, cooking oil, and other essential products were purchased in bulk right when the lockdown was about to commence. And then they could enjoy life at the comfort of their homes as they hoped and prayed for the safety of their families in the cities. So, here we are at the end of the video. Thank you for sticking on to this point. As I promised you, here is your bonus. Less crime. Less population density usually equals less crime. It's that simple. Residents in rural areas are less likely to be victims of a wide range of crimes compared to urban dwellers. Part of the reason for this is just a sheer numbers game. There are less people in the countryside. There's less opportunity for crime to occur. Also, most people in rural Africa know each other, and since the communal laws prohibit and can't tolerate any foul behavior that would bring harm to any member of the community, there are less social misfits. It's obviously not a guarantee that rural living is crime-free, but you can be comfortable letting your kids go to school alone or leave your windows open while you sleep for a cool breeze. And guys, while rural life and small-town living might not be for everyone, it's a perfect alternative to stress and strain of the urban world. If you have come this far with me, thank you. Kindly comment to staying positive. Also, let us know which among these benefits you liked most in the comment section below. So guys, this is where today's dose of positivity about Mother Africa ends. So if you haven't smashed the subscribe button already, kindly do so. Also, if you liked this video, smash the like button and turn on the notifications so that you know when a new dose has been uploaded. Stay positive and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Stay safe. Peace.